What's happening, guys? So this video is going to be a bit of a rant, right? Because saw this post and it triggered me, so I'm making this video. So this is about female footballer, well, former footballer. She's a commentator now. Karen
Who
Carney,
the fuck is this asshole?
former England international. Don't know what club she used to play for. Used to play as a midfielder and a winger. But yeah, she's living up to her name.
God damn.
So apparently on Monday Night Football last night, she said if big brands are going to sponsor a football club, they should go 50-50.
What?
They should give 50% to the men and 50% to the women and state it.
What?
If you're sponsoring something, that's a big audience. It shouldn't just be one type of audience. You see what Karen doesn't want to understand, and this is what feminists do, and I'm classing her as a feminist because this is feminist 101, right? Is she's talking about brands going to sponsor a football club, they should go 50-50 men's and women's. People aren't tuning into the women's like they are the men's.
Gotcha, bitch.
So why do you deserve to have as much as others that are drawing in more revenue more than you? That don't make sense. Somebody put in the comments, that's like wanting to get paid for 8 hours when only working a 4-hour shift.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You don't want to do the work required, but you want to get paid the same.
Stop it. Get some help.
This is what feminists need to understand, because this as I said, it's a feminist movement. It's a feminist 101. Feminists, modern day feminists, right? The modern day feminists, they are brainless, right? Because they will argue to be equal to something that's just not that way. You know what I mean? Feminists are the type of people, right? They'll argue that they should be able to do the exact same things as a man without being able to do the exact same things as a man. But they'll just argue it anyway. Because we're human beings and we're able to do things. That's where they come from. So this is a feminist talking point, yep. Right? Let's go into the comments, because this is just stupid. I mean, some of the shit that these men say. Right, let me just go down. Let me just scroll, right? Somebody said, why not split it by the percentage of revenue each area drives into the club / company? That's fair, isn't it? Is that not fair? Wouldn't that be fair? Whatever you draw in, split by a percentage of the revenue each area drives into the club. So if you're not bringing that much, then you're not bringing that much. You know what I mean? Ain't the men's fault. Complain to the women that don't want to tune into women's football. You know what I mean? And just lay off the crime. They should be given the same percentage, but in what they generate income-wise. That's how the real world works. But you see, feminists, as I said, they're brainless. The modern day ones that want to cry all the time. Well, women, you know what to do. Back her up and go watch your teams. How about that? Do that then. Cry to the women that they're not watching you too much. Instead of trying to be like, oh, well, we want equal. You know what I mean? I saw something else saying about how some are getting footballers they're getting paid $5,000 and still working 3 to 4 jobs. I'm thinking to myself, hang on a minute, are we talking $5,000 a week? Who's getting paid $5,000 a week and still needs to work 3 or 4 jobs, please? You know what I mean? The average person would do a lot to earn $5,000 a week. And I don't think they need to work 3 or 4 jobs. I don't know what lifestyle these men are living. But if you're on $5,000 a week, That doesn't mean you need to live a 5K a week lifestyle.
Nope.
You know what I mean? You could, if you're on 5K a week, you can live like you're on £500 a week. That 5K will go a long way. Again, but where's the sense? If Women's World Cup final was played in my back garden, I'd shut the curtain. Men's game took years to get to the level it is at now. That's a fact. The women's game can't just come up and say we deserve the same money. The standard isn't there yet. It's getting better, but it's a long way to go. It's a long way to go to it. It needs to develop. They can't just say we want equal share. Walk before you can run. Again, these kind of feminists don't think. They're just like, I want equal, mate. You know what I mean? Karen just being Karen. You know what I mean? It's no secret that Karen's at the forefront. Being a Karen. You know what I mean? People are just laughing. People find this funny because it is funny. I mean, it is funny. You know what I mean? But let me see if I can find when she said about 5K, getting paid 5K and whatever. I don't know if I'll be able to find that. Oh, wait, well, I've got another post of the same thing. Let's see what the people comments are saying on this one. It's a different post, but post the same thing. Clubs actually can't pay equally due to FFP. The men's game brings in lots of money and still clubs are in breach of the rules. Imagine if women got paid the same but only generated a small amount of revenue. This process will take time, but the women's game has made great strides in recent years. It's on the right path. She's expecting women to get paid the same despite not understanding you don't draw as much revenue. So why would you get paid the same, you fool?
Stop
you know what
it.
I mean?
Get some help.
It's a brainless feminist 101. You know what I mean? 50-50 team revenue, not club revenue. Different sponsorships and deals, but agree 50% of their team's revenue. Love the ladies this World Cup and they will make more money, but that's a dumb statement. And that is coming from a woman as well. That said that comment I just read out there. You know what I mean? So that's a fellow woman pointing out how dumb Karen's comment is. You know what I mean? Like, you're not there yet, women's football. You're not there yet. Maybe one day you'll get there, right? But you're not there yet. But you see, this is what happens when men have things and then women have their own of that thing. And then they want to start colonizing the men's now. You know what I mean? We've got female pundits coming in now. Obviously, women's football's on the rise and everything like that. Now, what are they trying to do? Getting emotional, talking about, oh, I want equal pay. They should get equal pay. Equal pay, but you're not drawing that much revenue. That makes sense, doesn't it? You know what I mean? You want equality on everything. You know, this let's not run before we can walk. Whilst the emergence of the women's game is a good thing and for all and is rapidly gaining traction, it's a million miles off parity. I mean, I just don't think that these feminists can wait, to be honest with you. I think they just want it now kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. And the thing is, this is how you know the feminists as well, because they are jealous of men. They are literally jealous of men. They want what men have. They want things as easy as they think men have it and whatever and everything like that. And it's like they want to be men while still falling back on the female privileges that they have naturally.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And this is what happens when you allow women to colonize your space. I'm just going to say it how it is. You know what I mean? Things was all good until women's football started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you got these female commentators flooding in. Now they want to try and colonize and talk about, oh, well, women should get this as well.
Stop
And you're not
it.
even drawing that much revenue.
Get some
People
help.
don't give a shit about women's football like they do men's football. You know what I mean? But you just want to colonize and just be like, oh, and just crying all the time.
Crying to me, and I'm not having
Rather than
it.
just shutting the fuck up and understanding that if you're not drawing in that much revenue, I'm sorry, but why do you deserve equality like that?
Shut the fuck, shut. Did I say no? Oh shit! Say it again. Say something else. Oh, say something else. Say something else, nigga.
In terms of the pay, sponsorship should go 50-50, but you're not drawing in that much though compared to the men.
Stop
Fool.
it. Get some help.
The women's game is a good watch, but could never fund itself. Crowds are up because tickets are so cheap. The revenue it produces is so far behind. Television audience is well below, even though a lot of it is on free to view TV. Still, the numbers are well below men's. We need to stop comparing them. As a group, they got is totally wrong in the final. If it had been men's team, they would have been slated in the press. Someone put the kettle on, love. Own goal at the airport, ignoring all the England fans waiting to cheer on women's World Cup squad. I don't know if that's something that she did or the women did. I don't know about that. What a fitting name. Why can't women have their own Sky Channel sorted? Because like certain other movements, they can't live without. So they need to colonize somebody else's. Because if they have their own, they know nobody will tune into it. This is why they want involvement with men so much. Because they know, put them on their own, people don't care.
Yep.
The only way, and I'm going to say, the only way people will care about women's football to some level of degree, like they do men's, is if the women are pretty much naked playing football. It's the only way.
Damn!
Telling you. I'm just going to say how it is. Right? People do not give a shit that much about women's talent unless clothes are being removed from them by them. I understand the sentiment, but ain't they under a different business model, i.e. separate entities? Just poking at the more obvious reason. So the Irish men's team should get half of what the women's team's Sky deal, right? Do the women's football bring in 50% of the revenue? What about putting down the pyramid down to the grassroots football? All they care about is the women that are on the TV right now, getting the same level of treatment as the men's, even though people don't give a shit about women's football to the degree of what they do men's. They just don't. You know what I mean? I remember when it was last year, last season, Graham Souness was after one of the matches, he was saying about he misses what does he say? How does he say it? Something about men at it. He didn't mean it in terms of like just men playing football. He meant it in a way of football back in the day. The footballers used to get stuck in, and obviously it was just men's back in the day. And Karen's face was like offended. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
Shut up!
You know what I mean? Go home and do the go home and do the dishes and make yourself look useful, Carney. Literally, no one cares about women's football. I mean, fam. And someone put typical Karen, and then someone else put what a Karen, and then someone else put Karen being Karen, and then somebody else put shut up Karen, and then someone put Karen. I mean, crying
Crying to me.
crying.
I'm not having
Someone put deluded. Someone said, take a look at how Mexico support their women's teams. They know how to do it. I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but I can imagine that they do support it way more than over here. Maybe if women actually followed a certain sport, they'd create more revenue, which we will see wages rise. This isn't something that can happen overnight. Laughing face. Men get paid a shed lot of money because they're bringing so much revenue from it. It's not rocket science. Like, it's not rocket science. But Karen wants to complain, talk about equal rate because 50%. We don't draw in that much.
No.
I mean, so if you're selling a product, right? Not many people want to buy it, and that person over there keeps being sold out of their product. You're gonna try and be even. You're gonna try and have your price be like theirs, even though people are checking for your items.
Stop it. Get some help.
The logic of a feminist. In a free market, the women game should earn what it generates. A leg up or a share of the men's profits wouldn't hurt all the same, and it's only fair. I don't think you can ask for half of the pie if you don't bake half of the pie, though. Have a word with yourself, lass. It's very much a percentage game, brackets, which in some instances the women do better in. But simply generate more interest and income to benefit more. Until then, keep striving to be better and keep the silly outbursts to a minimum. Deluded. Women's football is like alcohol-free beer. It's okay if there's nothing else in, but or you're driving. But in the real thing, is a million times better. I mean, Karen's getting smoked in these comments. She's getting cooked, fam. When women's football generates the money men does, then come back and talk. Simply put, nobody's interested in it. Put up the viewing figures from WSL 50-50. Completely disagree. Imagine the England men's team playing the women's. It will be over in 15 minutes. The level of football is worlds apart from the men's and the women's. It's simple as that. Didn't the USA women's get their asses kicked by 14-year-olds? By 14-year-old boys playing football? Jesus Christ, if you put the women's football against the men's, they would not last 5 minutes. No. Yet they're talking about equal pay.
Stop it. Get some help.
This is what I mean about feminists. This is the feminist mindset. You deserve equal to men. I hope, because even though I know it's gonna happen, these feminists will get what they want because society folds to them. But what I hope happens is they turn around and say, "Okay, women, since you want to be so equal to men, since you want this and that, we're gonna put you against men. Let's see how you do. We're gonna do a tournament, women's football versus the men's football, England women's team versus the England men's team, Spain's women's team versus the Spain's men's team, all that stuff. I only see English women crying about, British women crying about this. I don't know if Portuguese women's football is crying about the same thing. I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know. Somebody can maybe fill me in the comments. But I hope they turn around and say, okay, women's football, fine. Women's England team against men's team. Do that, and tell the men, don't differentiate. Treat them the same way you treat if you was playing against other men.
Oh shit!
Treat them all the same. Don't go lenient or nothing. Do that. But you know what?
Oh hell no!
That's the only thing that will slap feminists back into their own place. Of, I am a woman. I think we should stay in our place, and just understands that, the men's game and our game is different, and we shouldn't demand the same outcome as them, especially when we're not generating that much. That's how it should be. But it won't. That won't happen. That won't happen. But considering the attention women's now gets in the UK, they should have way more funding than they do now currently. Well, they're getting two a bit more attention, but it's still not the generating of the revenue is still not the same as what men's are. Stop mixing men and women's football in the same breath. Oh well, feminists will feminists don't like to differentiate that like that. They only do it when it suits them. John McEnroe said it best. Why not just scrap male and female games and just have the sport? Tanya. And they'll cry about something when the women, if that happens, and the women don't win any games at all, and probably don't even score a goal, and they get absolutely smoked every game, and probably pick up harsh injuries because the men are much more stronger and everything like that, and this, that, and the other. Then they'll cry about something, won't they? What will they cry about? Oh, well, we're women. Go easy on us. We can't compete, mate.
Crying to
That's
me,
what happened.
and I'm not having
That's exactly what will happen. And then they'll keep crying. Someone put football is men's game, whether you like it or not. Well, I don't have beef with women's football existing and all that stuff. It's only when you're trying to colonize. That's where the issue is for me. It's when you're trying to colonize. Stay in your place, do your thing. What will happen will happen. If people give a shit, they'll tune in, and then your revenue will increase, your wages can then increase, all that jazz. Until then, shut the fuck up. Let the men's game be the men's game. Stop crying, trying to be like, oh, we want the same as you, mate. You take what you get.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So if they advertise Foster's at both Arsenal and Aldershot, they should get the same amount of money, considering Aldershot would probably turn over the most WSL teams, if not all of them. Does the proposal from Carney apply both ways? I'm sure Newcastle, Man City, Chelsea, and any other sports washer would be interested in getting 50% of any deal a women's team negotiates. People ain't interested in women's football, and like it or not, the standard ain't as good. I mean, I'm just going to leave it there, but people don't give a shit. Let's just be honest. They don't give a shit that much about women's football. They just don't. I mean, they don't. In all fairness, I watched a bit of the World Cup final, right? And it wasn't a bad watch. You know what I mean? I mean, women's football, it's not a bad watch. You know what I mean? You get to see some attractive women playing sport, and then you get to see some donut mistakes as well. You get to see, when women taking corners, they're putting everything into getting that ball all the way up the field, across the goal. And, you could probably see some right goals in that. You know what I mean? Because the female goalkeepers, they don't have the reach like the men do. So can you imagine putting these women against the men? Like, if you have the men's football, if you have them taking shots from outside the box, putting absolute whippers on that ball, the female goalkeepers won't even dive because they'll just watch it thinking it's going wide. Oh, sorry, it's dropped in the net now. Oh, we've seen it with women's football. We've seen shots that they can't reach because they're not going to have the power to launch themselves off the ground to dive for the ball and have that reach like the men's would. You know what I mean? I've seen it. And these men want equal pay. And I've seen the own goals of the women's game. And I've never seen own goals like that with the men's. And we've all seen some bad own goals. But Karen crying, just stick to doing the commentary. You know what I mean? You've been given. You've got the chance of doing it. Well, you already do it for Sky Sports. Be happy with that. You know what I mean? Don't try and use this to try and say, oh, well, women should get 50-50 of this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, I don't know who she said this to. I don't know who she said it to, but I bet you nobody challenged her.
Nope.
You think any of them man can challenge her live on television about that? No, they'll have to take it. Because if they say anything, right, the asses get kicked off. And then she can turn around and say, "Oh, this is sexism." You know what I mean? Telling you. All you have to do is state facts. The women's don't generate like the men's do. So how can they want more? And then when you break it down, okay, so if you work a 4-hour shift and I work 8, then we should get paid the same. You know what I mean? You should break it down. You know what I mean? But anyways, I'm done with this video. You know what I mean? Karen, get out.
Get him out! Get him out!
You know what I mean? Get out of here, man. It's just stop arguing for stupidness. Anyways, guys, like the video, share the video, comment, subscribe to the channel, follow all the socials, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.